Google defines propaganda as essentially like information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. Usually, most people, I consider most rational people that aren't brainwashed, um, don't really have a lot of issues with, seeing what propaganda is, especially, propaganda from the 40s. It was racist, like, North Korean, propaganda, for their side, being anti-America and stuff like that, you know? And I think it's weird that a movie that is essentially propaganda made $100 million. Like, I don't really understand how that happens. Like, I'd say to the least that I know, like, a good amount of people who are actually religious that legitimately don't like this movie.
Could have easily been made into some sappy propaganda message for Catholicism or Christianity. And this is coming from me, a fairly religious guy. It could have easily been as generic and pandering as God's Not Dead 1 and 2. Those two are literal insults to Christians.
People want to praise this movie for its brilliant marketing campaign. And to a degree, yeah, it's true. I think the marketing team did a fantastic job at promoting this poorly made movie. Personally, I think it's sad that people don't see through that they keep giving their hard-earned money to filmmakers and films that are designed specifically to cash in on Christian naivete. In the end, I can't blame the wolves for dressing up in sheep's clothing.
While I personally enjoy these movies, I was surprised to learn that a Christian friend of mine actually refused to see them.
I read up on what the concept of the film was and how it portrayed Christians and non-Christians, and I didn't like it. I can't even enjoy it as much like as a comedy as you can. I'm pretty offended by it.
And no, I feel like I should clarify that I'm not making this video to make fun of your beliefs. If you're Christian, that's awesome. I'm really happy for you. But if you're like religious and you say that a movie's right that's clearly pandering to you and calling it intelligent, then I'm gonna call you out. Even current day, there are lots of religious movies, and I think right now they're actually having kind of a downfall. And same with Marvel movies. Only the fourth God's Not Dead movie has one totally unbiased review and a 100% audience score. And right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it doesn't even have a critic score, and it's been out for like a week now. So I think less and less people are playing into PureFlix, and I honestly don't know anyone who knows that it's an actual streaming service. I think everyone just assumes because, most of the movies that they make just come out in theaters is that they're just a production company, but it actually turns out that they are a streaming service. PureFlix itself has a very large variety of films. They have films about dogs. One of them has this Tony Hawk in them. And they have a section devoted to horse movies. I'm not kidding. Just horse movies. That is it. PureFlix itself, and really didn't launch off until the release of God's Not Dead. God's Not Dead is a 2014 religious film that came out, 2014, and made about $100 million at the box office. So I consider this film to start the trend in the late 2000s of religious films. And its other sequels weren't really successful, but this movie itself made a lot of money, but it was definitely not liked by critics. The film currently stands at a whopping 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, but a 75% audience score, which I can guarantee everyone that has reviewed that, all religions totally that. They're definitely not biased. So, you might be wondering, hey Michael, why are you talking about this film if it was just a fad and now the fad's done? Well, the reason why is because film itself isn't healthy for any kind of young religious audience. Like me myself, when I was like little and I watched this movie, I legitimately thought atheists were all evil people. And I think that whole thing and the whole message of this film is preaching to that and saying, yes, this is true, but it's not. You know, there are tons of logical atheists and tons of logical, Christians that just live everyday lives, together, and, both contribute to society and both can be great people. But in this movie, it's so one-sided that it's like all atheists are evil and all Christians are happy. And that is not even mentioning the fact that these films are taking advantage of people's faith in their religion and trying to make as much money as they can out of it. This movie isn't trying to spread any kind of word. No one who isn't religious isn't going to go watch this movie and change their mind. This movie was made for the sole purpose of trying to get as much money out of Christians as they can. And I think in general, you've got Ralph the Movie Maker's video, where I think he went over more of the film, issues on the way it's shot, the way it looks, the writing and the plot, compared to Wisecracks, which was a really good video, which was more just on the issues of the philosophy. And I figured, why not make a video on all of that, and explain the logic issues, the videography issues, all of it. And that's where we are today. I think if I was to describe this film as a food, I would describe it as Swiss cheese, because it has holes in it, it's flavorless, it has no color, and no one likes it. Alright, on to the start of the movie.